multiple effect on government revenues, and we would want to mitigate any measures which have that kind of effect. The third set of issues or are resolutions which can be grouped under the rubric of helping the government increase its revenues. The chair has filed a resolution to this respect, which I envision as a kind of a brainstorming as to maybe out-of-the-box possible solutions as to how we can increase government revenues without necessarily looking at the traditional sources of revenues, perhaps looking at government corporations and other possible sources of revenue to help our collection agencies as well as the Treasury. Senator Binay also has a resolution on the shame campaign of the BIR. Senator Aquino has a resolution on the memorandum circular on marginal income earners, but he has requested that since we scheduled this resolution for discussion, he has filed a bill to define marginal income earners. So he has requested that we not discuss this today and discuss it in subsequent hearings, which also tackle his bill. And the fourth resolution is filed by Senator Miriam. We started this already. It's also the on the tax evasion committed by reported tax evasion committed by self-employed professionals, which costs, which results in uncollected revenue. And the fourth is the long-running saga, which we're all familiar with, the fiscal incentives. We want to facilitate this since it's an urgent bill of the administration. So if I ask the committee secretary to recognize our guests, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. From the Bureau of Internal Revenue, we have Commissioner Kim Henares. From the Department of Finance, we have Yusek Jeremias and Paul. From the DTI, we have ASEC Ms. Rafaelita Aldaba. From the National Tax Research Center, Executive Director Trinidad Rodriguez. From the Bureau of Treasury, we have Mr. Dominic Mariano. From the DENR, Ms. Teresita Peralta. We have Dr. Felipe Medalla. We have Attorney Charles Cambaliza, State Counsel for the Department of Justice. From the Bureau of Customs Revenue Collection Monitoring Group, Attorney Clarence Dizon. Also from the Bureau of Customs, Ms. Cecil Soriano. From Pangea Philippines, Operations Director Mr. Michael De Rosario. From the Global Electric Transportation, Mr. Francisco Enriga. From the EVAP, or the Electric Vehicle Association of the Philippines, Ms. Yvonne Castro. President of the Electric Vehicle Association of the Philippines, or EVAP, Mr. Romel Juan. From Ford Motor Philippines, Assistant Vice President for Government Corporate Affairs, Ms. Josie Gonzalez. From Toyota Motor Philippines, Vice President for Industry and External Affairs, Engineer Alan Rufo. From LTO, Executive Director Attorney Emiliano Bantog. BOI, or Board of Investments Division Chief, Mr. Lito Umali. From AmCham, Attorney Jules Riego. From Isla Lipana and Company, Chairman and Senior Partner, Mr. Alexander B. Cabrera. And Tax Senior Manager from Isla Lipana, Attorney Jaffe Azaraga. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, ComSec. Welcome, everybody. Commissioner Yusek. Can we take up the alternative fuel vehicles bills? There are 3 bills. Can we hear from the DOF and the BIR first?
Your Honor, we'd like to propose that the 3 bill, because it's like the right hand not talking to the left hand, no? Because we're proposing a rationalization of incentive. No? So we'd like to address it all in the fiscal incentive rationalization bill. No? I think it will be addressed in the fiscal incentive rationalization bill because there's an ongoing discussion with the Department of Trade and Industry to come up with a consensus administration bill. No? And in that consensus administration bill, I would think that it will be addressed there, no? In the sense of drafting of a strategic plan for industry, no? And how to tackle the granting of incentive and what kind of incentive should be granted. I think that's one. And the second is Of course, the Department of Finance would rather give this as a subsidy, no? Maybe a mechanism wherein instead of talking about incentive, because when you talk of incentive, the unintended target does not really benefit. The intended target does not really, it's not the only one that really get benefited, but also unintended target. No? So we would rather that, let's say, for anyone who buys a hybrid vehicle, no, the government provide a subsidy, no, or a rebate, or another alternative is a 10-year free registration, no? Because at the end of the day, the price would really go to the benefit of the vehicle owner rather than, in a very general sense, the manufacturer. No? And I believe it's really giving incentive to people to buy more hybrid vehicle. No? So we'd rather have that rather than give incentive. No?
Yusek Paul.
We essentially have the same position because Kim is our revenue cluster chair. So everything that she says, we are of the same mind. Thank you.
About the DTI? Asek Caldaba. Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. DTI, we fully concur with what Commissioner Kim Henares has just mentioned. We are continuously discussing, in full discussion, in order to come up with a common position for the three agencies. But let me just emphasize that we recognize the need to integrate and consolidate under one law the various investment and incentives measures, also to provide a uniform and consistent investment and incentive policies in view of the need also to develop our industries and grow the manufacturing in particular. And third is to facilitate and encourage the entry of investments, reduce the cost of doing business, and lastly, to balance the need of the government for revenue to address the chronic issue on public deficit and the need to be competitive within the ASEAN region in order to attract investments. Thank you, Your Honor.
So, your position is the same, yung i-hold muna until we can rationalize everything. Okay. Can you hear from Dr. Medalla of the BSP? Yeah.
I fully agree. The problem already is the proliferation of incentives. So what we really want is a rational, holistic system, and then, so giving away incentives piece by piece, as much as possible, should be avoided. Secondly, the impact, if you look at the use of electric vehicles in other countries with higher incomes, the impact on the environment will actually be a rounding error. You have to have significant use for it to have an impact. And the way I see it, a more targeted approach is really the solution, which is, for instance, if you can target the tricycles to shift to electric, if you can somehow target the public transport system, I think the impact will be bigger, and as pointed out by Commissioner Henares, you will most likely, the intended objectives and beneficiaries are more likely to get the benefits. So take it out of the fiscal incentive system, and a more direct action of government is needed.
Thank you, Dr. Medalla. Can we hear from the DNR, Director Peralta of the EMB?
Thank you, Your Honor, but Director Cuna could not make it, so I represent him.
Okay, sige.
And Teresita Peralta. So we commend the EMB DNR commend the proposal of the three bills based on the concepts of air pollution reduction and greenhouse gas mitigation. Mitigation. But actually, for the three bills, there are no provision. There is no inclusion of provision for the disposal of batteries and also for the shipment of live or discharged lithium batteries or the lead acid. So may we recommend all, Your Honor, to include in the provision the how to dispose now these batteries. Thank you. Waste batteries. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Peralta. Anybody here from NEDA or NEDA? No? How about DBM? Anybody from the DBM? The DOJ. Is Attorney Cambaliza here? Yeah, Attorney Cambaliza.
Mr. Sir, we are actually unfamiliar with this present discussion right now. I'm only appearing for the purpose of discussing the third agenda, sir. So I apologize for the lack
Okay.
of...
Right. Okay. Sige, no problem. Bureau of Customs? Ms. Cecil Soriano?
Actually, sir, for the last 2 years, we have not been collecting duties for these hybrid cars because they are already getting incentives from BOI, or either they are zero duties because they are been imported from Japan, so they are under the free trade agreement.
Coming from Japan? Wala bang galing sa ibang bansa?
Sir, yung sa China, sir, yung tricycles, yung electric tricycles coming from China, but then they have been exempted due to their
BOI
yes,
incentives.
Sir, BOI.
Ano bang, what does the BOI give? ITH, gano'n?
Yes, sir.
Tapos free importation of capital equipment, etc. Okay. So I'll be asking the question, what's the difference between this bill and the BOI incentives to the proponents of the bill, no? Can we hear from the National Tax Research Center, Director Rodriguez?
Mr. Chair, the duty-free importation of components already exists as mentioned by the BOC representative or official, and then excise tax exemption will unnecessarily distort choices among automobile buyers, and VAT exemption will not serve the objective of lowering prices. So other more direct measures may be explored.
Okay. Bureau of Treasury, Director Mariano.
Good morning, Your Honor. The Bureau of Treasury, being part of the DOF, concurs with the views expressed by the Commissioner of BIR.
Okay, thank you. So now we go to we also invited some academics and from the Climate Change Commission, but they sent their regrets. So now we go to, can we hear from, the LTO first, Attorney Bantog, the Executive Director. Is he here?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Attorney, good morning.
Your Honor, first we wish to apprise the committee that this is very timely considering that the LTO and the DOTC has a pending administrative order on the revision and amendment of the guidelines in the registration of electric vehicles. According to all the three Senate bills, Your Honors, the hybrid or electric vehicle shall enjoy a priority in registration and issuance of plate number. Insofar as the priority in registration, Your Honor, we can accommodate that if they will require a special lane. Hybrid electric vehicles currently enjoy an exemption from emission testing, considering that they do not have any emissions, so they are already, the renewal procedure is already faster for electric vehicles. Insofar as hybrid vehicles are concerned, Your Honor, we treat them not differently from gas or engine or diesel fuel powered vehicles. It also is provided, Your Honor, that a special type of vehicle plate shall be prescribed to the hybrid vehicle. We wish to apprise the committee, Your Honor, that the plate standardization of the LTO is underway, meaning that we have specifically made only certain categories for private and public vehicles. Previously, prior to the plate standardization, for electric vehicles, we had a special plate, the orange on white. However, with the plate standardization, Your Honor, all private vehicles are now given a black on white plate number, and for public vehicles, black on yellow, with of course the government plates and diplomatic plates. However, Your Honor, if this shall become a law and we shall be prescribed to provide such a special plate, meaning we will revive or continue the use of the orange on white or some other categorical plate, then we shall be constrained to amend our agreement with our supplier, Your Honor, and make the necessary changes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Attorney, how do you feel about the suggestion of Commissioner Kim for the 10-year free registration?
Well, although we are not primarily a revenue-raising office, Your Honor, however, considering that it will undergo the, I will propose that there shall be a question of equal protection, Your Honor, considering that other normal vehicles shall undergo the same process of registration. That we feel that if any fiscal incentive is granted, it should be it's fine to be given to the manufacturer and assembler. However, with the end user, Your Honor, for protection of the agency, we feel that there should be still required to register.
Okay, thank you. Can we hear from the Board of Investments, Mr. Mali? Before that, I'd like to recognize the presence of Senator Nancy Binay, who's one of the authors of one of the resolutions to be taken up. Good morning, Senator Binay. Yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
I believe our Assistant Secretary Fita Aldaba has already elaborated on the position, but I would like to say on a previous statement on the income tax holiday that's being availed, as mentioned by the customs representative, I would like to just to say that there are two laws that being implemented by the BOI, it's Executive Order 156 and 226. For motor vehicles, it is usually the MVDP or the 156 that is being availed of, and there is no income tax holiday there. It's only the importation of the CKDs. It's only under EO 226 that's income tax holiday. Completely knocked down parts. So it comes in not as a CB, a completely built unit. Thanks, sir.
There's no ITH.
No ITH for MVDP.
Under either EO.
Under EO 156, but under EO 226, there is the
ITH. But is that given? Binibigay mo yun? Hindi.
It's, shall we say, it will be given if they are registered with that. With EO 226.
So ba't di sila nagre-register sa EO 226?
Some doesn't register, some only register under EO 156.
Anyway, we'll ask them why they don't. So can you give us, yun na ba yung suma total ng incentives na binibigay sa mga alternative vehicles?
Sa motor vehicles in general, what we are giving under EO 156 is the 1% duty exemption on CKD. For EO 156, we have the income tax holiday, 4 years for new, non-pioneer, and for pioneering up to 6 years, extendable for another 2 years. And then we have capital equipment for EO 2262 and other non-fiscal incentives.
Thank you, Mr. Mali. Pero hindi ba yung proposal lang is to remove the ITH going forward sa fiscal incentives?
Sir,
will you be removing that? That's what you want, no? You want to remove it. Phase it out. You want to phase it out.
Yeah, but that's an ongoing, because we have to agree with the...
wala pa ba?
It's ongoing, sir. Then we're going
to... Para 10 taon na yung ongoing.
Hindi. This time, it's really...
Ito, talagang totoong going na.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, basically, we have come up with principal agreement, no? But we have to put it down in paper.
The details.
So that everyone will see how it looks like and agree to it. No?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I understand it's a very difficult task.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Senator Binay, please.
May target date na ba kayo to come up?
That's a good question. Is there deadline for the two departments who are traditionally at loggerheads here, for them to come up with
We hope to come up with it before the end, at the latest before the end of June, no? At the earliest before score by first few weeks of June.
That's a
Actually, we
good-
have an agreement already. It's just that we have to put it down in
writing
in
for the
legal
details,
form, so
right.
that is it really what we reflects what we agreed upon.
Okay. That's good because we can have the hearing. Now we'll hear from the proponents of the bills. Can we hear from Mr. Juan, the president of the Electric Vehicle Association of the Philippines? Sir?
Yes, good morning, Your Honor. Good morning to everybody. We're very happy that this is being taken up now. The electric vehicle industry has reached a tipping point actually this year. Last February, we had an electric vehicle summit wherein proponents from different countries such as Taiwan, Japan, and Korea went to the Philippines, and we talked about electric vehicles. And I'm happy to note na medyo EVs are really on the spotlight right now, especially when President Obama visited e-jeepney, and the proponent is right here, Mr. Mike Del Rosario there from Pangea Motors. They make those electric jeepneys, so endorsed na ng US President. And
In-endorse ba niya yung mga Hapon at saka Koreano? O yung US manufacturer?
Siya ho makakasagot. Nandun ka ba? No? But anyway, so ang nangyayari ho ngayon, gumawa ho kami ng ang Electric Vehicle Association, binuo ho namin para magsama-sama lahat ng mga suppliers ng electric vehicles and manufacturers of electric vehicles also in the country. And marami na ho mga nangyayaring mga progress. One of which is the ADB project that is being implemented by the Department of Energy, wherein they plan to supply, or they plan to change about 100,000 tricycles from different LGUs to electric. So conversion ho yun. Kumbaga, kung yung lumang tricycle na, alam niyo naman yung mga tricycle natin, medyo masyadong mausok siya, and it's really gas-guzzling, and it's very inconvenient to ride. Pag makasakay ho kayo sa electric tricycle, you can see the difference na pag kayo ho yung sumasakay, mas komportable ho talaga ang electric tricycle. Hindi ho siya maingay, hindi ho siya mausok. So that's one big project that will really push the electric vehicle industry in the Philippines. So pag mai-grant na ho, nagbidding na ho for the first 3,000. So pag mai-grant na ho hopefully this month, medyo tatakbo na ho talaga yung electric tricycles. Ang isa pa hong malaking programa are the electric jeepneys. And tama po si Dr. Medalla nung minention niya na dapat ang targetin natin are the public utility vehicles. Right now, our association is really pushing for the implementation of electric vehicles for public transport. So mainly for electric tricycles and electric jeepneys. Pag sumakay ho kayo ng jeepney sa Commonwealth, bago ho kayo makaabot sa dulo, hilong-hilo na ho kayo sa usok. Pero pag makasakay ho kayo sa electric jeepney, meron ho tayong 10 umiikot sa Makati. Napaka-conveniente ho. Ang makikita niyong sumasakay sa Makati, mga nakakurbata sila, no? And it's already running. It's already been running thanks to, of course, then Mayor Binay and Vice President. Siya ho ang sumuporta talaga, even the launching of that. And so ngayon, I guess Mr. Del Rosario can share with you also. They have a program right now where they are converting running jeepneys into electric. Sila rin ang mag-ooperate, kapartner na yung Pasang Mazda. And other operators are also looking into this, no? So yung public transport, yun talaga yung pinupush namin. And also, maski ho yung mga hybrid naman, Toyota is here with us, Mr. Alan Rufo. Ang isa ng mga idea namin, baka pwedeng pag hybrid ho yung taxi nyo, baka pwedeng habaan natin yung prangkisa para ho makabawi yung hybrid na taxi, which will also be good for the environment. The benefits ho, of course, are really big in terms of the environment, economic, even health. Yung respiratory problems ho natin, nakuha ho namin yung figures is about 5 billion pesos ngayon. Makakatulong ho talaga pag electric na yung mga tumatakbo sa kalye. And now for the umabot na nga ho sana tayo dun sa dulo in the last year. Kaya lang hindi ho tayo nakaabot sa finish line. So hopefully ngayon ho mabigay ho yung incentives. Although if it's really, kasi ngayon lang ho kami Ngayon lang, well, ang EVAP ngayon lang ho namin nadinig yung fiscal rationalization, no? But if it means that we have to wait for that, siguro kailangan talaga maghintay. Pero I think Senator Bam Aquino did a smart thing by also passing a bill with non-fiscal incentives. So kami naman ho sa association, kahit yun lang ho muna, para lang ma-push na, no? In the incentive, so kami ho as a manufacturer, we are using the BOI pioneering status right now. Meron ho kami, yung PHUV, yung kumpanya na kasama ho kami, meron ho kaming pioneering status, so meron ho kaming income tax holiday. Let me just share with everybody, ang medyo nagiging problema lang ho, yung market ho, hindi pa namin talaga ma-push kasi yung presyo ho namin medyo mataas pa ngayon. So kahit ho meron kaming incentives, hindi ho namin ma-fully use it kasi wala pa ho yung market. So, and I think yung sinabi ho ni Commissioner Henares, I agree with that. Kung mabibigyan din ng rebates, which other countries are doing, that would definitely help the industry also. Kasi ang magiging effect ko, bababa yung presyo, and the customers will enjoy that. The customers being the tricycle operators, the jeepney operators, the jeepney drivers, the taxi drivers. So, yun ho ang position namin is anything that will decrease the price of these electric vehicles right now, because it's a fledgling industry that really needs the support of the government. Sa ngayon ho, kung yung excise tax hinihingi nga ho sana namin matanggal muna for 9 years ganyan. Kasi sa ngayon wala pa rin naman ho so hindi naman natin nararamdaman. Pero kung halimbawa ho mapababa yung presyo at tumakbo na ho itong electric vehicle industry, we're looking at about 100,000 jobs to be generated, because we're also part of the Parts Manufacturing Association, and kinukompute ho namin yung trickle down yan malaki ho kasi maraming. Right now we're looking at siguro mga 10,000 units of electric jeepneys to be produced. Ayun ho yung market ngayon, and about 200,000 tricycles. And doon naman sa mga kotse, yun, siyempre, kung ma-push din yung mga hybrid, kasi pag ikumpara ho yung number of hybrid cars sa Pilipinas, sa ibang bansa, napakaliit ho talaga dito. So, baka ho pwedeng matulungan din. Yun lang ho. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Mr. Juan. Just a few questions, no? So, okay lang sa'yo kung mapasa yung version ni Senator Bam na walang fiscal incentives, kasi that would get rid probably of the objection of
to be clear
the
lang
finance
ho,
authority.
hindi ho sana okay. Maipasa na ho sana na mauna na, basta meron lang maipasa, pero we're still pushing for the fiscal incentives po sana ideally, kasi po talaga pong makakatulong sa industriya.
Okay, so well, the one thing the government and the proponents agree on is the need for subsidies. So saan ba magagaling yung subsidies na yun? Sa DTI ba? Where would the subsidies come from? Oh. Yes, Dr. Madali.
But that takes political will. The best way to encourage more electric vehicles in mass transit is raise the registration and franchise fees on the environmentally damaging alternative. And then exempt the less the damaging alternative from the registration fees. Of course, you know, of course, that is a politically dangerous thing.
Suicidal.
Yeah, but given the price differential, a tax holiday is actually useless. Because it's unprofitable to begin with because of the price differential. You have to somehow level make the electric vehicles competitive, and there are two ways to do that: subsidize the electric vehicles on the ground that they are better for the environment. The other one is tax the
polluters.
Okay. So, and I think a higher registration fees, maybe tripling them, and then exempting the electric, at least the public electric vehicles, would do the job. Except that the question there is the political wisdom of such a proposal. But from an economic standpoint, given the current price differences, either you need large subsidies or large taxes on the other side.
Okay. Sige, that's an interesting idea coming from a non-politician. But it's worth studying. Mr. Juan, may tanong lang ho kami. Can you give us the list of incentives that the industry is enjoying? Tapos, for any of the proponents of the bill, could you tell us what company you're representing and what products you are offering to the market?
Sa ngayon ho, ang na-enjoy pa lang namin as a company is yung BOI, yung 226, so yung pioneering status. So, meron kaming income tax holiday for 6 years and tax-free importation of equipment.
When were you granted
actually, this year ho.
Pioneering
This year
status?
Lang. Kaya ho, nagpupush kami makabenta. Kaya lang medyo mahirap ho kasi mataas pa yung presyo.
What are you selling? What are you selling? What
The electric jeepneys, right now, we're selling it at 850,000.
Ang kalaban nyo?
Ang kalaban ho, siguro mga 600, 500.
Okay.
Kung meron hong brand nyo na. Pero wala na rin ho kasing gumagawa ngayon ng bagong jeepney. So may mga backyard na lang yan.
But why is no one building new jeepney?
Because no new franchises are being given already po eh. So kaya ngayon ang pasok ho namin is conversion talaga. Kung merong existing line na gusto mag-convert into electric, yun ho ang gagamitin. I-take over namin yung franchise. Kaya lang dapat ho ma-afford ng operator o ng driver yung unit din.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
For
Senator Binay, please.
lang, yung the one na kinukwento nyo is your company?
Yes, ma'am.
Ilan na ho ba ngayon ng players dun sa...
Right now, our association has about 50 members. So, out of that, mga 30 ho yung mga kumpanya. So, out of that, siguro mga 10 ho yung mga manufacturers ngayon. So, kasama ho ang Pangaea dito na maybe you can share your incentives also.
Sige, we'll recognize you after this.
Okay.
Pero kay Binay, gumanda talaga ang buhay.
Sa Makati po, yung mas clear ho yung skies kasi wala hong jeepney umuusok.
Mr. Chair, I have to share then. In fact, during the inauguration of my father, he rode the e-jeepney to promote yung electronic vehicle.
Gawa po namin yun.
Ano yung gawa nyo na on the streets?
Siguro ho ngayon mga 200 pa lang. But most of them are in resorts, ganyan, ginagamit ho sa mga resort kasi syempre ayaw nila na mausok sa resorts. Pero ngayon ho, merong tumatakbo sa loob ng Ateneo. Meron Makati is really, yun ho yung parang showcase namin. Kasi 7 years now, since 2007, and it's still running up to now.
Oh, that's great. Oh.
Mr. Chair, sandali. You started 2007, pero yung pioneering status, you just got it this year.
Yes, ngayon lang.
So for the first 6 years of operation, parang wala kayo nakukuha ng incentive.
Hindi rin ho namin magagamit kasi the demand wasn't there yet. So, ngayon din lang ho namin talaga pinursue kasi ngayon namin nakikita na magkakaroon na ng market.
I wonder, may mga kliyente na kayo sa government. I know for a
Ang
fact,
Congress ho, meron
Air
dalawa.
Force, ang Air Force ata ginagamit nila is
Meron ho yata, opo.
Salamat, Senator Binay. Can we hear from the other proponents? We would like to recognize Ms. Josie Gonzalez, the AVP for Government Corporate Affairs of Ford Motors Philippines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to clarify, Ford is not a proponent of the bill, but we support the initiative of the Senate in promoting and developing clean energy technologies for the production and importation of these vehicle types. Our view on the current form of the bill is that it provides full incentives to specific technologies such as electric, hybrid, and to specific fuel like CNG, LNG, LPG, regardless of the actual performance of this technology or fuel relative to the vehicle emissions and the fuel efficiency. Our view is that if government has the capability of providing incentives or subsidy, we are proposing that it should be technology neutral and adopt an output-based approach such as CO2 emission. You measure what is going out of the tailpipe, but not on the specific technology. Because automotive technology has been advancing very fast. And probably in 10 years' time, there will be new technologies. And since we have already put in specific technologies in the bill, we might again revise the regulation or update the regulation. So we are our proposal is to look into a CO2 emission as the basis for providing the clean air incentive or subsidy. It is simple, it is transparent, and it provides a level playing field to all car makers, importers, because you will be able to provide the best technology that could provide the low emission. So the lower the emission, probably what you can work on is that provide subsidy or discount to the current excise tax. What we see also is that if this bill, if we work on this, if this bill will be passed, there might be a distortion in the market and set back the tax reforms initiated by the government and of course by the legislative on the which is specification has shifted from specification-based tax system in the past, and now it's more transparent and easier to administer value-based system. So that is how we look totally on providing and promoting development of these clean air technologies for the vehicles. Thank you very much.
Okay, you'd like you to make your which provisions you are objecting to more specific, no? In writing.
Yes, we will do that.
And suggest the language for your preferred criterion.
Yes, Your Honor.
Output, as you said.
Yes, we will submit our position on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we hear from Engineer Allen Rufo, Vice President for Industry and External Affairs of Toyota Motor Philippines?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Toyota has been the pioneer in developing hybrid technology for vehicles, and we have been doing this for the last 10 years, even here in our country. Although we are not very much successful in providing more hybrid vehicles on the road due to the prohibitive cost of acquiring them. Basically, hybrid vehicles, compared to conventional vehicles, has many advantages. That's why most parts of the world, especially, have adapted these technologies already. Hybrid vehicles have lower fuel consumption and lower environmental impact, both in air and in noise. So there are certain advantages that we can get from bringing in hybrid technologies. One of another advantage is that hybrid vehicles do not need to change any existing infrastructure in our transportation system, meaning they just made best use and make best efficiency of the existing fuel systems and provide them a better environment and lesser use. It has been Toyota's wish that the hybrid vehicles become mainstream in our country, and with the cost of with a very prohibitive cost, we cannot even move them into the market. Although the market accepts much of our vehicles, but most of our customers shy away once they hear the cost of more than 2 million for a Prius.
How many units have you sold? You're talking about the Prius, no?
Yes, sir.
How many units have you sold?
For the last many years, we are only on the figure of around 200 to 300 vehicles.
Because it's selling at close to 2 million or
2.25 million, sir.
2.25. So you can buy a Camry for
yes,
that.
Sir. So that sometimes for other better models,
you can buy the upper variant.
You can upper variant.
Oh, why don't you bring in the Camry that's
there's also Camry.
Why didn't you bring that in?
Because if you bring in the Camry that is also a hybrid, it is much higher than the Prius.
How much would you sell that if you brought that in?
It will reach more than 3 million in cost.
Okay.
So right now, our in terms of taxes, both for excise tax, VAT, and duties, Toyota totally we account around more than 30% of the cost of the vehicle. By the way, although the Prius or our most hybrid vehicles are coming from Japan, we do not enjoy the incentive of the JIPEPA because these are small displacement vehicles and only high displacement vehicles are given incentives under the JIPEPA rule. So, in conclusion, we support Senator Bam Sakino's bill granting incentives for both fiscal and non-fiscal. So we might
I think Senator Bams does not have the fiscal incentive.
Yes, sir. Okay, sorry, I stand corrected.
You're in favor of the bills with the fiscal? Or?
If there is a fiscal, we are much in favor because this is the one that's been deterring the marketing of our vehicles to provide lesser fuel consuming vehicles and better environment vehicles. So in any case, we support the bill for non-fiscal incentives. Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's go around the table after you say that.
Yes. If you look at the price, let's say 3 million will become 2 million.
No, sir. For example, specifically for Prius, if the price is at 2.25, roughly it will become around 1.65 after if we remove all taxes.
And how many units will you end up selling?
That's still the price of a Camry. Eh.
Yes, actually.
Mas gwapo naman yung Camry kaysa sa Prius.
Yeah, but
bottom line.
So my point, Mr. Senator, is the number of cars. Even you're unnecessarily complicating the tax system, and maybe you increase the number of cars by a few thousands. So it's a rounding error. So my point.
Can you explain what that means for the non-economists? What is rounding error?
How many cars are there on the road? Millions. You're increasing the
LTO. Ilang kotse ba? 7 million cars.
You increase that optimistically. You increase it by 10,000.
By how much does it increase every year, attorney? 30. 1.3.
Okay.
1.3.
So clearly, the impact on the environment is negligible. But you have complicated tax system. That's why I keep saying focus on mass transit.
Is mass transit contemplated in the bill? Hindi, no? This is addressed to any of the proponents. May incentives, but to like electric powered train cars or say we just passed the PNR franchise. Hindi naka. So what does the bills cover? Just
the manufacturing.
But which type of Just
in general.
Motorcycle. Pwede rin.
So
it's under the commissioner. Yes.
Yeah. I see a problem. No, a hybrid car you will not overburden our electrical system. An electric vehicle, as it is, our power supply is already very thin, and now everyone will do electric vehicles. So it means more brownout for everyone. No? Industry will have to close. People will have to lose job. And then if there's no electricity because there's brownout, the tricycle driver cannot even make pasada. So
ganun
he will not
ba
have...
kalaki yung usage ng electric vehicles?
Hindi po. Commissioner.
Maybe you can give us an idea of
kasi basically ang charging natin is 8 hours, no? And per charge you can run about mga 50 to 80 kilometers already, which is what you require for transport in a day. Pwede ho tayo mag-charge sa gabi. At saka pwede ho tayo mag-store ng power off the grid, galing off the grid. Actually, there are proponents now who are getting it from solar and different kinds of power generation. Ang partner ho natin, very active of course, with the electric vehicle push is Meralco also. And pinaplano na rin ho nila kung paano ayusin yung grid for this. And hindi naman ho magiging problema. It's not going to be a problem.
How are they your partner? They have a stake in your company?
No, hindi ho. Tumutulong lang ho sila.
I'm just wondering kasi
tumutulong ho. Halimbawa, yung electric vehicle summit ho namin, ginamit namin yung facilities nila and those things. And of course, for the charging stations ho, sila ho yung syempre silang magli-lead and to provide the charging stations for the electric vehicles.
Yes, again, Commissioner.
No, because I'm just thinking, we look at the charging as electricity, and supposedly it's supposed to help the climate. But all our electricity comes from plants that are coal fuel run, bunker fuel run, not so. There's a geothermal. It's more in Mindanao, not in the Luzon and Visayas area. True, the pollution is not here. But you create a pollution somewhere because somebody has to produce that electricity that's using coal and bunker fuel. For me, parang sure, the incentive should be to those to provide solar panels, diba? Because even if you give them electric vehicle and they have to charge it at home, our electricity bill is so high also. So there are ways to encourage the use of electric vehicle by really targeting it. What is it that they really need for them to be able to not only buy but use it consistently? Because if they have it but there's no electricity to charge it, or if there's electricity and it's expensive and they cannot pay for the electric bill, then they will not use it also. So parang for us, it's what is it that they really need? Because if they don't have money, what kind of incentive will they have? It's really to provide them with the seed money to start using it and to use it in a regular basis.
The BIR done computations or the DOF as to, I'm sure this is an old bill na so I'm sure meron kayong computations from last Congress, di ba? Ano yung lost revenue?
Let me check on this, but
we can also check from the last. Can we flag that? May figure na ba tayo? So, according to Director Dasil of the STSRO, the Senate Tax Study Office, wala daw masyadong foregone revenue. Is that correct? That's what.
I think the history of the bill is these are bills that were fast break during the last Senate and Congress. So there was really no in-depth discussion and study of the bill. That's why it's one of those bills that I don't think we were really given an opportunity to object to or what. So I think it was addressed in the bicameral session.
Okay, we'll give you that opportunity. Anyway, we're not going to finish discussions. We'll have other subsequent hearings. Can you give us figures at the next hearing for foregone revenue? Now we'll proceed with the other private sector resource persons. Is Attorney Cabrera here, the tax senior manager or the chairman and senior partner of Isla Lipana and Co. Yeah. Are you here to comment on these bills?
Not really, Senator. But,
saan kayo? Anong bills? Which bills?
We're here for the reduction of the income tax rates and the rationalization
okay. Sige,
of
so hindi na to, hindi na kayo dito.
I'll pass.
How about Attorney Rego? Same for the okay. So we'll go now to the representatives of the Global Electric Transportation Company. It's the group of former Congressman Tinga, former Mayor Tinga.
Yeah, I'm representing the corporation, Frankie Endriga, the CEO of Global Electric Transportation.
This is the group of former Congressman Tinga.
Yes.
Sige, please go ahead.
Well, representation, we're very much in support of the non-fiscal incentives, and as Mr. Juan said, it would also be nice to have fiscal incentives. But our company actually we're actually in partnership with Pangea Motors with Mr. Michael De Rosario. So our company's goal is to create the applications for electric vehicles. and that is supported by our manufacturer, Pangea Motors. So our focus really is finding the right use for electric vehicles, where they will have the most impact, to address the concerns of Commissioner Enares, that we have to look at where the electric vehicle industry can make the greatest impact. And that is, as we said, through public transportation. So it's actually reducing the carbon footprint per capita. That is really the goal. And 40% of our population actually travel through public utility jeepneys. I'm not really sure about the figures for tricycles, but it shows that addressing this particular sector will have the greatest impact. With passenger cars, it's a great thing to have, but the impact will be minimal because the volumes aren't. The volumes aren't really there. So, with regard now to the financial aspect of the industry, we agree that on our end, it works best for it's in our favor if we have the fiscal incentives. But based on our studies with Pasang Mazda, who is our partner, the biggest hurdle is really the acquisition cost. Now, what our company has done is to mitigate that entry through financing. So we've talked to private financial institutions to provide us with more affordable financing rates, which reduces the acquisition cost. So we've been working with RCBC and hopefully with BDO for this. And internally in our company, we've put into place a microfinance program that even the down payment, the operators or the drivers can obtain financing. So that was the biggest hurdle that we overcame, and that's why Pasang Mazda has been very aggressive in pursuing the COMET, which is what we presented to President Obama. So if it is such a huge concern for the government and the revenue-generating agencies that we will lose, that there will be such a huge loss of revenue, we have to take into account that it's a fledgling industry wherein the revenues are negligible. So 100% of zero is still zero, di ba? But if we are to grow the industry, and the government is hesitant to provide the fiscal incentives, maybe the government can step in providing the funding, like what ADB has done. So there are so many GFIs with a lot of money that they can use to mobilize, Yeah, to acquire the vehicles, yes.
Financing.
So that's one area that I guess is a win-win. The GFIs will still generate revenue from this industry through interest income, but at the same time reducing the financing cost for the customers.
You mentioned you provide the apps for the vehicles. What apps would that be?
Fleet management and the fare system. So we use a tap-in, tap-out system similar to Octopus in Hong Kong. So it's a cashless fare system. And the fleet management, of course, is just to allow us to dispatch the...
Does that work? It's a card system?
Yes.
Each passenger has a card.
Each passenger acquires a card, and then we have reloading.
Where would they acquire that card?
At the terminals, sir. The terminals, and we have merchants that will be selling the cards and reloading at the bus stops.
Where are the terminals?
We're using the terminal of Pasang Mazda in SM North EDSA.
So for example, how many terminals are there?
Most of the terminals now, we have terminals with the malls. Mm-hmm. Those are the bigger terminals, and then you have smaller informal terminals used by the associations that are either private property or property of the LGU.
The vehicles do not. The drivers don't accept cash in these vehicles.
No. Actually, what we do also, the drivers become salaried employees instead of being compensated through a boundary system.
Okay.
So it removes the pressure from them.
Yeah. Thank you. Anything else to?
That's been. Also regarding the concern again of Commissioner Enares about the source of electricity, we're also working to create off-grid off-grid power solutions as well as solar power solutions, because the company operates the charging depots for the vehicles also. So it's all one ecosystem.
If
that
you
we have
create
built.
the off-grid energy sources, hindi ba eligible kayo for incentives under the RE law?
Well, could be.
Yeah, I think
Could
you should
be,
look
we
into
can
that,
check.
because I
Yes.
think you are. Oh.
Yes.
Commissioner. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'd just like to correct the statement that 0 of 0 is 0. Because at the end of the day, when you give this, you are replacing something that has been paying
Would go to the
taxes.
government. Oh.
So it's not 0 times 0 equals
It's 0 at the present.
For them, it's 0, but there's an industry that's paying
Displace.
taxes
That will
be displaced.
Right.
So it's not correct to say it's 0.
Right. Okay, so I think since we're is this on this bill? Because we need to wrap up already. We have 3 other items. Sige, last. Keep it short, please.
Thank you, sir. I'd just like to add one of our activity at the BOI at the moment is our automotive roadmap. And considering this and this bill, we would like to provide you a position paper later on the effect of this bill on our...
Tapos na ang position paper?
We are just finalizing it, sir.
What is the thrust of the position paper?
I would like to see the effect on the NDDP, the automotive roadmap.
Your position paper says you would like to see the effect of the MPDP, another roadmap. So it's referring to another document.
Yeah.
What does that document say?
This is the Motor Vehicle Development Program. We are crafting a new program for the automotive industry.
Okay, what does that program say?
It will have new incentives package and non-fiscal incentives too.
Ipapasok niyo yun sa FI, sa fiscal incentives.
I've
talked to a few representatives, no? And I've talked to the DTI when we did I forget which hearing that was because we've had so many hearings. I forget if it's in trade or in this committee, no? But yun nga, there's a need to incentivize some of the downstream and upstream to create that the supplementary, kasi kahit pag wala yun, sa Thailand pa rin sila pupunta kasi mas mura bumili ng mga parts, no? So anyway, sige, we'll wait for that, no? Thank you. Well, we have Yusek Cristobal. Would you care to we're closing the discussion on the alternative fuel vehicles. Would you care to know more?
That, Mr. Chairman,
Okay,
just my
salamat.
questions here.
Salamat, Yusek.
Last question lang.
Yes, Senator Binay.
Ilan na ho ba yung may prangkisa for e-vehicles?
Sa ngayon ho, ang alam namin, Senator Binay, is Makati pa lang. Sa
Comet?
What we're doing po is the existing franchises of Pasang Mazda, we will be converting to electric. So drop and substitute po.
LTO know kung ilan yung pending requests for franchise?
They have not yet
vehicles?
registered the vehicles, Your Honor. So we have no pending requests yet, Your Honor.
Your Honor, it's actually the existing franchises. So we're not applying for new franchises. We're converting existing franchises po.
Okay. Before I go to Mr. Juan, hindi pa yata namin na-recognize si Mr. De Losario of Pangaea. Sir, go ahead.
Good morning, Your Honor. Like all the other electric vehicle players, manufacturers and assemblers and dealers also, we fully support both the fiscal and non-fiscal incentives being discussed in the said bills. One thing we just wanted to raise, Your Honor, is actually maybe for the concerned institutions to look at, review and rationalize the NVDP program. Because the NVDP program discusses specific requirements in terms of investments for new players in the automotive industry, which covers the electric vehicle manufacturers. What is mentioned in the NVDP program is a specific amount related to whether you are a motorcycle manufacturer, commercial vehicle manufacturer, or passenger vehicle
That's
manufacturer.
a potential subsidy.
No, sir. It's actually an investment requirement. Now, one thing we wanted to raise, sir, is maybe if they can rationalize the figures, because it goes without saying that the simpler the vehicle gets, such as the electric vehicles, the more basic also the requirements in terms of capital cost, and we don't need robots, we don't need expensive pneumatic equipment, which means we invest a lot lower compared to the traditional vehicle manufacturing industries, but still deliver the same quality of the vehicles. So if we
You're a manufacturer?
Yes, sir. We're a manufacturer. We actually manufacture the comets that get implements.
What is sorry, I'm
The comet,
my ignorance. What is a comet?
The comet is the electric shuttle, which was featured when the President Obama visited. We're actually in partnership with Get Philippines, because they're the group that implements the transport management system, including the payment system. We're purely the manufacturer of the...
Please get, that's Mr. Enriga.
Mr. Enriga.
Okay.
We're purely the manufacturer of the vehicle, sir.
And could you just walk us through how much of your material is imported, how much is locally sourced?
Well, for the first 30 units, around 80% is still imported. But we're already talking to a lot of local manufacturers now, specifically Almazoya. We're also talking to Romel. And right now, we've actually consolidated a lot of suppliers based in where we operate, which is in Cavite.
So of the 80%, what is the 20% that is locally?
We're looking at frames. We're looking at
locally
frames.
sourced,
Yeah, we're looking at the chassis, the frames, the body, the wiring harnesses, the brake lines, and eventually we're looking at the full assembly of the PCBs, including the supply of the PCBs for the battery controllers to be supplied here in the Philippines also.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, is
Yes,
it the same with Mr. Juan, 80-20?
Right now, yes, but as of course the volume increases, we will localize more as it comes.
Do you buy from China, Taiwan?
Yeah, we actually buy from various sources, from Korea,
whatever.
China, Taiwan, Europe.
Right.
Yeah, we buy from both China and Taiwan.
I see. Okay.
Last na lang, Mr. Chairman.
Sige, go ahead.
Okay,
Tapos na ba si Mr. De Rosario? Are you finished?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you.
Sige.
Okay,
Mr. White
ilalabas
na.
ko lang yung homework na dinala ko. In estimated revenue gains from enactment of the EV Incentive Act as we prepared po sa Electric Vehicle Association, income tax on job generation, EVAP estimates that the new taxes on compensation can be raised from the new jobs to be generated from auto and parts manufacturing dealerships, service centers, and other allied industries. Estimated additional withholding tax of 689.52 million will be generated starting year 4 up to year 9 of the implementation of the EV Incentives Act. Multiplier effect, injection of more disposable income leads to more spending, which creates more income. The multiplier effect of the generated sales of 33.49 billion in 9 years, given a multiplier of 5, is 167.46 billion at 1% withholding tax. The government stands to gain 1.6 billion. Carbon credits from emission reductions, with the deployment of just the e-trikes, 100,000 e-trikes alone, the total avoided CO2 is estimated to reach 355.806 tons per year. Assuming that the market price for carbon credit is $10 per ton, government stands to gain 3.6 million or 145.88 million pesos per year. Dollar savings, ito po yung from oil import reduction, kasi imported ho yung oil natin, assuming that 100,900 e-trikes are deployed, will be achieved on the 9th year. The dollar savings from gasoline imports would amount to 115.69 million or 90 million liters times 52.70 per liter equals 4.74 billion pesos. No? Savings from pollution-related health expenses, ito ho, 1.64 billion kasi even just a 10% penetration rate by electric vehicles in the 9th year of the incentive surveillment, the savings brought about by the reduction in pulmonary and cardiovascular diseases and premature deaths is 1.64 billion. An estimated VAT of 1.57 billion is expected to be contributed to the government in a span of 9 years. This is based on gross revenues of 33.49 billion from sales of 100 e-trikes and 10,000 electric jeepney units. VAT collection from additional energy demand, the estimated additional power demand for the deployment of e-trikes and e-jeeps for the next 9 years is 88.8 gigawatt hours. This assumes that each unit of electric tricycle and e-jeep consume 2.4 kilowatt and 5.6 kilowatt respectively per day during battery charging. Assuming that the cost per kilowatt is 10 pesos, the average VAT collected is 10%. The additional VAT collection from e-trike and e-jeeps would amount to 88.88 million pesos. At yung sa kuryente naman ho, marami hong bagong ways ngayon to store energy. So hindi ho tayo magba-brown out dahil sa electric vehicles. Actually, yung electric vehicles can actually give back to the grid. Pag nakapark ko yung electric vehicles at mawalan ng kuryente, pwede ho tayo humigop dun sa mga jeep na nakaparada. Maraming salamat ho.
Okay, thank you. We have to leave this bill already. Let's hear from ASEC. That's the last comment we'll entertain, and then we'll have another hearing on this. Because we,
sentences.
Yeah, go ahead, ASEC.
Mr. Chair, with respect to the volume issue earlier pointed out by one of the guests, I would like to emphasize that I think we should not be looking at the market for these green vehicles as just the domestic market, but the whole of ASEAN, the regional, the much larger regional market. And I think if we try to do that, then we some economies of scale could be achieved, and that would be, I think, a crucial factor in reducing the cost of manufacturing. And in fact, in the papers this week, Terra Motors already came in, and it announced that among its plans is to make the Philippines a regional hub for these green vehicles.
What company is Terra? It's a Japanese company, so they'll be manufacturing in the country. Okay. So you're saying once after AEC, costs of production will go down. Is that your point? Oh.
Yes, Your Honor. By looking at the whole ASEAN market.
Okay. Sige. Well, let's set aside the bill, and we'll ask Mr. Juan to submit the figures you cited, no? And we'll study them. We'll now go to. I'd like to tackle. If it's all right with did you have any other? Senator Binay doesn't have any other questions for that. So we'll tackle 2 and 3 together because they're very much related. 2 is the corporate income tax rate. I don't have to guess what the position of the DOF and BIR will be here, but it's just really to get the discussion started, because I feel it's something that we should at least discuss. If we don't pass it, at least we consider it the costs and benefits of lowering corporate income taxes because of the impending ASEAN integration. We're the highest in the region right now, or one of. Of course, countries like Japan have a really high, I think they have a 40% corporate income tax, but they're really an outlier as far as the corporate income taxes are concerned. So I'd like to tackle that alongside, to take advantage of the presence of the good commissioner of the BIR, who has to leave at 12. So I'll give her the floor to tackle these resolutions. And the Senate is really concerned how we can help the BIR and the DOF going forward. We look at our tax effort, and it's really low. Are there other sources, like, I don't know, what are the other money makers of government? PAGCOR, for example, is one of the biggest corporate earners. It's always their top 3 corporations of the Philippines. It's also government. I'm just wondering why that's not counted towards government revenue. PCSO, even LTO, actually. So, hindi ba counted yun? That's not counted towards your tax effort ratio, no?
Because they are not considered tax.
But are they considered towards revenue effort?
Yeah, revenue effort.
They are counted in revenue.
Tax effort.
I don't think PAGCOR considered in revenue effort?
They give dividend. When they provide the dividend.
It's only the dividend,
yes.
not the entire pie. Okay, right. Sige, we'll throw it to the body. We'll hear from Commissioner and Yusek Paul first.
You first naman, since I said first kanina.
Free to talk about also the other resolutions, no? Yung resolution ni Senator Binay about the shame campaign of against professionals and how it has progressed. Okay, I've been seeing the ads and I think it's gotten the attention of the public. Have your collections from these targeted groups, has it been effective?
Your Honor, with regard to the ad campaign, no? We view it more like a transparency campaign, no? Making people aware that, because everyone is saying that they're paying the right taxes, no? By making people aware that not everyone is paying the right taxes, and here are the data, no? Based on, we cannot really know for sure yet whether the result comes out effectively, no? But let's say for the doctors, basically after the
It's too early to tell if the ads have been effective.
Yeah, but I would think there's an effect in the sense that, like now, because of the campaign, doctors are now becoming aware, no, that these are their responsibility. There's a lot of dialogue going on with us, no, where the different colleges, physician, surgeon colleges, even the PMA, we have an ongoing discussion, and we basically now they became aware that these are their liability, because you basically unless they, the psychology of people, unless it's really you're at the edge, they don't really mind us, no? They don't really pay attention to taxes, no? All they will say is that I'm not a thief, I'm not a, But with the campaign, basically, it opened the door to a discussion with the sector. No?
I agree, Commissioner. It's been very successful in terms of raising awareness. I think the newspaper ads. And maybe this is a little too early to measure.
Yes.
Since we collect taxes year to year, no? So
yes.
It's a bit difficult. But
yeah. And actually, sir, that's why what we're saying is that based on our April collection, the one that really pulled us down are big corporations, no? And corporations.
Yung large taxpayers.
At saka yung mga corporations sa urban area, no? The explanation there is really because a lot of these people have fiscal incentive, no? That's why we're pushing for the rationalization of fiscal incentive.
Could you give us more evidence to back that up when you say that the April collections went down because of fiscal incentives?
Yes,
like
sir.
which corporations and how much? I'm sure you can quantify it, di ba?
Yeah, we can quantify it, but we cannot give you the name of the corporation, sir.
We'll be happy with the real corporation A should have been paid this much taxes. We'll be happy if you say manufacturer B would have paid this much without the fiscal incentives.
Yes,
in
sir.
sum total, we would have lost this much because of fiscal incentives. And then, of course, I will throw that to the DTI and ask them, what did we get in return for these fiscal incentives? And they will say, we gained so-and-so jobs. These people who were employed paid so-and-so taxes. And this was the multiplier effect. I expect that to be the back and forth here.
Yes, sir. Actually, we prepared 2011, which is finished already, tax for gun report. No?
Is it itemized? How is it itemized per corporation? Who prepared it? The BIR or the DOF?
By IPA. By Investment Promotion Authority, how much was forgone because of the incentive, no?
It's broken down. That's the smallest it's broken down into by IPA.
That's the report that was prepared for the president. There's also
that's a little hard to analyze kasi pag per IPA lang eh.
There's also registered related activities.
So is it per corporation? Per taxpayer?
No, like for example, it's by related activity. Manufacturing, like we have number of firms, that's 125. The special rate they enjoyed is 4,691,000,000. The income tax holiday they enjoyed is around 8 billion, 8.8. So the total tax expenditure, the total tax forgone is around 13.5 for manufacturing. Then it goes down It has different sector, and this only constitute 29% of total proponent that were given incentive, no? Because that's the...
Can I have a copy of that? You have a copy now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. I'm trying to picture what you're analyzing there.
To STR.
Yeah, what's the share daw of ITH dun sa?
41,523 million.
For 2011?
For 2011, out of 29% of people who got incentive.
Hmm.
Estimated ITH 45 billion. Total registered 167.
How many corporations would this be? 220, no? 220.
329. Representing 29% of the total population.
But then how do we decide if that business would have come in without the ITH? Maybe the economists could guide us there, no? How do you know? Because without, what if you didn't have that that fiscal incentive?
But the mere fact that you need the ITH means you're profitable. So that means you would have come in anyway. Now, you cannot apply that to...
Wait, can we, before you proceed, your statement, the mere fact that you availed of an ITH means you're profitable?
Yes, because it's for instance, the socially desirable things like clean transportation.
Yeah.
The reason the ITH doesn't matter is that the sales are so low because the products are expensive. So on the other hand, to begin with, let me give you an example of the biggest user of ITH, power firms. Their ROE is probably 20%.
Bakit ang mahal pa rin ng kuryente natin?
Yeah. So precisely, they would have come in anyway. Now they claim that they would have passed on the savings to the customers, but judging by the high prices, they seem not to be doing so. So that's why when you look at the literature, the ITH is always the worst because it did not really encourage any new activity. In contrast, the exemption of exporters.
So the ITH is just a profit maximization device, in your view.
Yes. In contrast, a waiver of duties and taxes on inputs of exporters is probably no revenue loss because if you had our exporters would have died.
So what about the BPO sector? Sensitive, diba? They're very cost sensitive.
That one is hard to measure.
Yeah.
How much of that would have disappeared if they were not given the
because
ITH?
they're very mobile, no, diba?
Yeah.
So in that case,
but
would they have invested anyway without an
by the way, judging by the fact...
Do they enjoy ITH, Yusek?
Yes.
Yung BPO under the BOI?
Yeah.
How many years sila?
The standard is 4 years, but most of them really register with PESA because it's an export of services.
But sir, judging by the fact...
In your paper, you say that if it's for export, you should not take away the incentives.
You should not tax their inputs.
Okay.
The worst tax is a tax on inputs of exporters.
On the role of ITH, I agree. Well, the senator did mention some difficulty in measuring, whether they would come or not. I agree with that, and in the region, as of now, we have the highest corporate income tax rate, and everybody has a lower rate, and everybody offers ITH. Singapore has a 17% CIT, yet they offer up to 18 years of ITH, while ours is at 4, maximum 6. For investors, it'll be up to 18, so they have flexibility on how many years. On the power, we do agree, and we have been looking into that matter because the commitment to pass on the savings to consumer is something we don't see happening. We would rather not grant by ITH like what we did with mining, but then again, we were sued by mining company because, as mentioned by Commissioner Hernandez, there are special laws
Who sued you?
Well, I can't say the company.
Why?
But
It's a lawsuit. It's
I know.
It's public. Public.
That's true. That's true. But I don't.
public
But
already. Yeah. I mean, we can look for it, but papahirapan mo lang kami. Why? Might as well tell us.
well, it's SR Metals.
Sino yun?
I don't know the details of the ownership and all that, but it's because
They sued you because you didn't grant them incentives.
Yes, because the executive branch made a policy decision, as you know, 2 years ago, to review the entire law,
The EO.
and to stop giving incentives. So we did implement that policy decision, knowing the risk of being brought to court. So we do have a case in the Supreme Court on that. So while we believe the board has some discretion, it really depends on how it's stated in the special laws. And there are over 70 of these laws granting incentives, some for social purposes, which is fine with us, but there's some for many for economic activities that we think can be streamlined into just one document.
Ano na lang, help us refine it. I agree that it's difficult to have a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly.
Because there are so many considerations that come into play.
Yeah.
So that's why we're trying to refine it na nga.
Yeah.
Ito na yun. So if we can come together.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Senator, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I may. Senator, I think the one size fits all. I think it's not really a viable concept, and I would really be concerned about making hasty generalizations. One point of view of looking at it is foregone revenue, but the other perspective is investments that may have gotten away. And insofar as the power industry is concerned, we use these incentives to entice them to go into build, operate, transfer programs, arrangements with the government. When we do something, it's always going to be in comparison with our Asian neighbors, and we can. I think I'm not for not touching the income tax holiday at all, but I am for putting more structures into who enjoys income tax holiday. For instance, Indonesia would have a minimum capital investment before you can avail of income tax holiday. Thailand would grant income tax holiday by way of allowing recovery on the amount invested. And this is amount invested basically in capital equipment, because it excludes investments in land and building and working capital. And Vietnam would allow income tax holiday, well, structure it in such a way that it starts during the first year of profitable operations. So I guess it is really difficult to make a generalization, but I think we should inject new ways on how to structure income tax holiday and put the rewards to be able to put the rewards where we wanted these activities to be. Putting it in or rewarding with ITH those that are strategic to us is not a new concept. Vietnam, for instance, allows income tax holiday for strategic industries, and they have enumerated those industries.
Yun naman ng BOI. They also have that qualification, di ba? You have that. You can grant it to the president has that power to, if it's an important industry, di ba? It's a catch-all. How is it phrased in the law?
That's the strategic.
Yeah, meron din naman tayo nun.
The investment priorities plan. Yes, Senator.
Hold on. Yeah, I think we should really be clear on our aims. It's not just to increase revenue, it's also to get investments. But further than that, what kind of investments do we want? We want capital investments. We want investments in plants, in things that will produce jobs and that won't go away or pack up and leave after 6 years, diba? Yun ang gusto natin. So we'll welcome your ideas. We'd very much like to get more details dun sa binanggit nyo sa ibang bansa kasi wala kaming masyadong alam dyan. So, it could give us an idea also how to compete with our neighbors, no? How many of your clients are enjoying fiscal incentives?
Well, because of the special economic zone, and if you talk to the investors, really the one thing working for the Philippines is really the special economic zones. Of course, the other part that they would say is, our demographics. But outside of that, is the special economic zones really.
Yeah. Pwede. Go ahead. I think, Senator, can you give us a rundown of who you represent and what FI they're enjoying and how it has. They could give us, because I think that anecdotal evidence is important. Diba? It gives us a regional and a global perspective because I expect they are multinationals. And they give us an idea of what we're up against. So sana meron tayong ganong, you think you can submit that to the committee?
I'll submit something, Senator.
Sige.
Thank you.
I think the point has to be stressed is the mobility of the investor. If you do not give him the incentive, does he go elsewhere?
Is it for him to pass?
And as pointed out by Jose Cristobal, for a mining firm, what attracted you to the Philippines is the mineral.
You'll go here whatever happens.
Yeah. Similarly, you're selling electricity to the Philippines, you cannot go elsewhere. So the point is, if at all the incentives are to be given, it's for firms that can go away.
That'd be one test. That can be one test.
And it's fairly easy to analyze who will go away and who will not go away. If you're selling to the domestic market and you're attracted to the Philippines by a mineral deposit, the income tax holiday is not the thing that made you come here. Now, but you raised the point about BPOs. Can they go somewhere else?
That's pretty clear.
By the way, as shown by that they stayed on despite the large appreciation of the peso, they probably would have come in anyway. But maybe at certain exchange rates, our competitiveness may disappear.
Not only the exchange rates, they're looking at several variables. The cost of labor, which is going up.
Yeah.
So we have to watch our competitiveness 10 years down the line. No?
So my point is, use the philosophy of redundancy in streamlining the incentives. If you have good grounds to suspect that they will come in anyway, regardless of the incentives, and the sure sign that they will come in anyway is they're oriented to the
market specific. They're market specific.
They're oriented
looking
to
at the Philippine market
talaga. Or attracted by mineral deposits.
We would like to hear some new voices. Can we hear from Attorney Rego of the AmSam?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Regarding the still growing BPO industry, I think we just need to leave them alone because it is still a growing industry, and it will still grow further. And it's true that this is a plug-and-play industry, so to speak. They can just leave anytime if they see that the conditions are not favorable anymore. We don't see any reason why they cannot just leave and go to Singapore, where the government can offer them subsidy for rent and subsidy for electricity, just to bring down the cost and just import our talent from here.
Is Singapore a competitor in the BPO industry?
There are some companies who are locating in Singapore. They are starting to build their call centers as well. Of course, our number one competitor is India, but we have...
Di ba malayo na yung wages at saka in terms of standard of living, if you're getting a comparative salary, hindi ka mabubuhay sa Singapore.
But Mr. Chairman...
that's at the higher end of the spectrum.
And Singapore can afford to subsidize the rent of the companies and the electricity. So that's why they can bring down the cost of the BPO companies. So just to attract more investments in Singapore, and which is what they're doing. Just to make a comment about the rationalization of the fiscal incentives. We are one with the BIR and with the DOF in rationalizing and codifying our investment laws and incentives, because it's actually very confusing for foreign investors whenever they come to the Philippines. Why do we have to take up so many laws and know so many laws? And I think codifying the investment laws would also prevent the turf wars. I mean, SBMA is competing with PESA, with Clark, with Aurora Ecozone, with so many other ecozones in the country. So just to have one investment one administrative body that will implement the investment and incentive laws, I think would be a very good step towards the right direction. In fact, this bill has been pending for the last 19 years, and we've been working at it for the last over a decade now.
Can I interrupt you? You think Clark and Cagayan and Aurora should have the same incentives? Because they're not similarly situated. They don't have the same level of infrastructure. They don't have the same level of manpower, diba? And that's the reason why you want to spread out the development, because all the development has been concentrated in certain geographical areas. How do you counter that assertion?
I think the point precisely, Mr. Chairman, is to just harmonize as much as possible, synthesize all our investment laws. I agree that there are differences in terms of logistics requirement when you look at in Aurora rather than Clark or Subic or in Manila. But at least as far as the general incentives are concerned, there should just be one uniform incentive that should be given to all industries, to any industry, let's say exporting export companies, so that there will be no confusion. I think, Mr. Chairman, just to add to the point that we just want to, as much as possible, be at least competitive with other countries in terms of giving the incentives. If you look at other neighboring countries like Vietnam, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, they are giving incentives which are, if not equal, even more generous than ours.
Can you substantiate that statement in writing?
We'll do that.
Okay,
we actually have provided matrix already before, even in the 14th and 15th Congress.
From them?
But we'll update the matrix.
Do we have the matrix? Oh, sige, can we have an updated matrix? We'd very much appreciate that,
Yes.
Attorney Rego.
In fact, Senator, I pointed out in the hearing in the House that Samsung just built its biggest manufacturing company in Vietnam and was given 15 years of income tax holiday. It's worth about $2 billion of investment.
$2 billion.
I mean, can you just imagine if
$2 billion?
Yes, $2 billion.
How many employees?
I don't know. It was in Wall Street Journal.
Saan yan? Saan sa Vietnam?
I do not know the exact location. I think it's in Hanoi. And I think our priority should be generation of employment, because we are nearing the 100 million mark. Our working population is about 30 million, and according to the article that came out yesterday, 1 in 3 Filipinos does not have any job. So if we go by these facts, what will happen? Our countrymen will just continue to leave the country, and that's my main concern.
And work in Samsung in Vietnam.
Exactly. I mean, work in the factories of other countries and pay their taxes there rather than here. That's what's going to happen. And actually my greatest fear, Mr. Chairman, is the social cost that it brings. If you think about that, there are actually 10 million Filipinos working at any given time outside of the country, being separated from their families, husbands and wives being separated from their children. What is the social cost? How can we quantify that? Is that more important than the foregone revenue? So,
well, medyo nalalayo na tayo.
No, I
appreciate the compassion and the passion.
But that's the underlying story. That's something that we don't look at. Yun nga po yung other side of the coin. No?
Yeah.
We need to provide jobs in the country. I think that's what we need to put in mind.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Sige, are you done? Huh? Okay.
Just to promote inclusive growth.
Okay, you're done? Attorney Azaraga, can we hear from you? Use your microphone.
Mr. Chairman, I work with Attorney Cabrera. Basically, we view the incentives also as we can do a lot of restructuring also to be more rational and to be to correspond to the actual needs of the industries. And we will also provide you with the summary of the comparative analysis between the countries to aid the legislation.
Attorney.
Senator, can I just touch on a topic
written in one of
Yeah,
those.
sige. Let's keep
It's
it.
on the micro business, which is actually being sought to be incentivized dependent on their gross sales. Just like to refresh Senator that there's a Barangay Micro Business Enterprise Act, which grants income tax exemption for enterprises with assets of 3 million and below, and also the fact that there could be also an integrated structure with our income tax system. For instance, Senator, the tax rates that we have, instead of not graduated but based on progression on amount. For instance, the revenues that would normally be earned by micro businesses would be exempt, and then the medium enterprises would be subject to a discounted tax rates, and then the big companies would not have any discounts because they make so much money anyway. They won't care about the reduction in the income tax
That's
rates.
the ideal tax structure, really.
Yes, consistent also with our constitution,
Yeah.
Senator.
Yung sinasabi niyang BMB,
Sir.
any availers of that?
The problem with the BMBE is you need to get the barangay and local government approval. No? And I think a lot of local government does not provide their approval because it also affects their revenue. So there's also some...
So wala pa? No one has availed of BMB?
Meron pa
How much have we,
ilan.
for lack of a better word, how much have we given in terms of...
We have not monitored it, no, because in the almost 4 years that I've been commissioner, I think I have only signed
a handful
a handful of BMBE
siguro maliliit lang yan, di ba?
exemption. Kasi yung problema...
What is the threshold for BMB? It's 3 million in terms of...
3 million in terms of
gross
assets.
sales? Assets. So okay. Yeah, so maliit talaga yun. Oh.
No, actually, sir, regarding the marginal or small medium enterprise, this is where we want to make the whole study of the tax structure, no? Because we have to not only look at the rate, we have to simplify it, no? Because if you exempt them from income tax holiday, but from income tax, but there are other taxes that they are also subject to, it does not simplify the whole thing. No? So we would like to look at the whole structure, no? The income tax, the corporate, the VAT together, because we have to come up with something that's revenue neutral.
Is that with a view to raising VAT but lowering income? Not yet. Yeah.
I mean,
I would caution on that approach also. I know it's the easiest, probably the easiest thing to do because it's easy to monitor. It's a good law to administer. It's easy to administer, and I know that VAT collection is going up as a percentage. Tama ba, Commissioner? As a percentage of total
Actually,
income.
personally, sir, I'm still not comfortable to being very dependent on VAT against income tax, no? Because VAT is very dependent on a compliant taxpayer. No? So if our taxpayer we have a 40% informal sector, so that means 40% of our taxpayer is already non-compliant from day one. Then of the 60% that are captured...
Is that your formal estimate, that 40% of businesses
that's
will not pay VAT?
World Bank
Don't pay
estimate.
VAT?
They're not registered as a taxpayer.
So
they don't pay income tax, they don't pay any
sari-sari
tax.
store, things like that. Jeepney drivers, tricycle drivers, mga ganon.
It includes more than them.
Yeah, the sidewalk vendors, etc.
No, because we have some businesses. We find that there are some businesses that are not registered. When we do tax mapping, they have ongoing establishment. No, they're air conditioned. They have clients, but they're not registered.
Okay, that's different. Yeah. Talagang madaya na yun.
There are people that are like that. We're not
Yeah.
just...
I guess that should be covered by our resolution na talagang how do we widen the tax net to include those people, the marginal income earners, without overly burdening them. And there's a reason why they're marginal. Baka in place of that, I filed a bill called the Magna Carta for the Informal Sector. I've been filing it since I was a congressman. it incentivizes the marginal income earners, the informal sector, to come into the formal economy by paying a one-time fee. And that one-time fee is in lieu of all local government impositions. Kumbaga, bayad na sila one time, then they're covered in terms of PhilHealth, in terms of... Kesa naman walang makuha ang gobyerno, di ba? Mabuti nang may makukuha ng konti. That's my philosophy. And then it helps your documentation also, because if they avail of that, then that widens your...
Yes,
Kasi right now, do you see any other way that we can incentivize or attract them to come into the formal network?
Actually, sir, if we're going to give any exemption, the first rule should be they should be registered.
That's right. That's why
then
they have
it should be
to be formalized.
Yeah, it has to be time bound. No, we have to give them time to grow. No, it cannot be that it's forever and ever. They're always like that. No,
my fee is a one-time yearly
yes,
fee.
Sir.
So
but what we're
baka
saying,
you can study something along that line na kumbaga parang hindi that everyone pays.
Actually, for us, we want to study the whole thing because we want to basically simplify it. No?
Yes.
We don't want a taxpayer to come to us every month. As it is now in the tax code, all business taxpayer have to come to the Bureau of Internal Revenue every month. No? We have to unclog the people in our office. We have to unclog the people in the banks. No? So basically, that's why I'm saying that the whole thing should really be studied. It's not just a matter of lowering rate.
Yeah.
Because if you lower rate, you did not simplify.
That's right.
No,
so please consider that yung one-time fee. Baka you can put it among your things on the table, or for marginal income earners. So can I get your views on the lowering of corporate income tax?
Mr. Chairman, in fact, during the 14th Congress, we submitted a position paper to propose the reduction of the corporate income tax to 15%. That sounds very aggressive, I know, and BIR and DOF will definitely object. But we are saying that's still revenue neutral because we believe that if we do that, even for, let's say, even for personal income tax, that would give people more.
Your proposal is 15 for individual and corporate.
It should be the same.
Did you do some studies for that?
No, there's no formal study, Mr. Chairman. It's just a proposal because we were thinking that it's actually the trend globally to tax consumption rather than income. Just to and if you look at our neighboring countries, they actually lowered most of them their corporate income tax rate. In fact, Thailand just lowered further their corporate income tax last year to 20%, down from 23%. So I think just to make the Philippines more at least comparable or competitive against our neighboring countries, I think the more realistic rate would be around 23 to 25. But I agree that 15% can be very aggressive. But if you look at the possible implication of a reduced corporate income tax, that I have said, there will be more income to dispose, so that will spur further economic activity. There will be 12% back on consumption if people spend. So I think more or less that would neutralize the lost revenue for corporate income tax.
I think Senator Binay, I'll get back to the resource persons, but Senator Binay has a question for Commissioner Kim before she leaves.
Sir, I think Commissioner Anaras has to leave and it's already 12 o'clock. I just want an update dun sa IRR ng TIEZA.
Just to, Yusek, you promised us you would have it by... No, but you promised us you would have it by
the
time
end
we
of
resume,
May.
diba? Oh.
By the end of May, sir.
End of May bang deadline natin?
Yeah.
End of May ba?
Yeah, we said we will
Dami nating deadline.
we will give the IRR to TIEZA for them to sign it
By the end of May.
Yeah.
So how are we looking in terms of meeting deadlines?
Oh, we will be able to give it to TIEZA.
Fantastic.
It's now a matter whether they will sign it or not.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I guarantee you cutting the revenue tax rate from 30 to 15% is not revenue neutral.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Dr. Medalla has a good point. No, I mean,
the idea, the taxpayer payments, the cheating will fall by half to compensate.
It's hopeful. It's wishful thinking. Huh?
So the key there is how do you pay for the reduction? So either you get rid of all the, let's say, eliminate some of the incentives like ITH, which you can use to finance the lower tax rates. Now the question is actually of timing. If that's your philosophy, cut the ITH and lower the income tax rate. I think that may work, but you have to calculate how much you can reduce the tax rate. And I think the question also of pacing. If you cannot do it simultaneously. I think you have to see first what the revenue gain is from the ITH before you can calculate what the corresponding cut in corporate tax rate will be. So it has to be sequential, not simultaneous.
Spokesman of the DOF, ah.
Many times they make sense.
Okay. No, I don't understand why it has to be sequential, given that the elimination of or the rationalization of fiscal incentives has taken so long. How can we make it sequential? It's like a chicken or egg problem, di ba?
Calendar. This will happen immediately. This will happen 3 years.
No, definitely. Yeah. I think we can put off the lowering of income tax, but let's not put off the study of it and the, diba? We can put it off till 2016 or 2017 or 2018, but there's no running away from it. It's there at our doorstep, diba?
But I think sequential is more the scheduling. Like una muna yung isa, and maybe 3 or 4 years down the road.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what I'd like to get from is trends. I want to know the trends. Like what is the trend of VAT in terms of as percentage of income? What is the trend of the SIM tax? Because all of this will be upwards. Ang graph niyan is upwards. Ang curve. So I think income is hindi ho ba? I will have it plotted out. No? But as a percentage of total revenue.
Income tax is still the highest. Because we have so many gap in our law.
Oh, but I mean, Commissioner, I don't question that income tax is the highest, but as a percentage, kumbaga,
it's still growing as a percentage.
What is it now of total? Where's the?
Here, income tax constitutes 60.7% of the total collection of the BIR.
60.7.
VAT is 21.7.
That's as of 2013 figures?
2012, because 2012. We don't have an annual report yet.
No. I want a pie chart. Oh. So what was the figure, for example, in 2002? Diba? So we can chart the long-term trend.
We can provide those data. In 2011, the difference is not that great because in 2011 income tax constitutes 61.88. In 2012, it's 60.7. The VAT went up a little bit, no? 2011 is 19.81. In 2012, it's 21.7. So it's growing. I mean, it did not substitute that much. The difference, the significance, the difference between years are not that significant.
So excise tax, we really took a hit from 2003 when total collection was 13% of
that's why we
collection of excise was that's why we moved for the how much do you estimate it down the line? 2014, 2015, to what percent will it return to of total collection? Is there any idea? Just a range. Will it return to the original 13%?
So can we give you a percentage, because it's in amount, the excise tax
collection for future projection?
Yeah, it's supposed to grow from 2013, which is
2013 is how much?
110.3 billion.
Out of Out of what's the total collection?
Assuming because this is just 1.233.
Still less than 10%, no?
Yeah. Then it will grow to 124 billion this year against a goal of 1.456. Then in 2015, it's supposed to go to 137 billion against goal of 1.72 trillion. 2016, it will go to 149 billion against goal of 2.072.
How about for the self-employed? How is it as a percentage of total collection? Is that here? Is that here, the self-employed?
Sir, in 2010,
But in total, individual withholding tax magkasama.
we collected 24.56 from individual.
Business.
Okay. From individual business, which are self-employed, including professional, they contribute 15.4% in 2010. In 2011,
What's the figure, Commissioner? The
24.56 billion out of 159.71 billion of all
2013
individual.
ho yan? 2013.
2010.
2010.
So that represents 15.4%.
We changed the taxation for self-employed. When did we do that? What year?
Change.
The SNITS.
The optional standard deduction.
We changed the deductions, di ba?
SNITS was implemented in 1992 and withdrawn in 1998.
So 92 to 98.
No, but
Can you
there's
give me data on that? Because some people are saying we should bring it back. Of course, it may be difficult, but I'd like to see if that's justified by the figures. Like how much was...
Actually, sir, we have a modified SNIT because
Now.
we have the optional standard deduction. No?
Okay.
Where from your gross revenue, you deduct 40%
flat,
without any question asked. So, in effect, your top rate is 18%.
With the
Because
optional.
it's 32% times 60.
Right.
Yeah, so more or less 19%.
No, but before, magkano yung collection natin as a percentage from the self-employed as a percentage? Was it high? Was it similar to the case of excise
It's
taxes?
always the same thing.
Never. It hasn't really changed.
Yeah, that's not really changed.
Versus compensation.
So we have a figure here, no? Of our total revenue, we collect 20% from individual. Of this 20%, usually the range for compensation is between 15 to 18%. It does not go more or less than that. The self-employed constitute a range of 2 to 3% of the 20% we collect from individuals.
So 2 to 3% of 250 million.
2% of whatever
Of
we
250
collect.
billion, rather.
So if we collected
That's
1
about 2
trillion,
billion lang. 5 billion. Something like that.
if we collect 1 trillion, 2% of that is 20 billion.
20 billion.
So, a more telling statistic is the ratio of income tax collected via the withholding system
Total collection. What is that?
If I recall correctly, that's more than 90%.
Yeah, because that's the easiest way to.
Yeah, so in other words, if you're not captured by the withholding system, you contribute very little to the income tax.
That's what we're trying to increase, ano? Yung hindi captured by the withholding system.
Basically, the hardest sector to tax are businesses.
And I think the BRF has a good time series of that. I've seen the statistics. The income tax collected by the withholding and the income tax not via the withholding on individuals. And I think that's the most telling because the first one is over 90%. The withholding system accounts for over 90% of the individual.
Has that 90% changed over the years? O pareho lang siya? It's constant year to year. Yung sinasabi ni Dr. Medalla na
He instituted the campaign only quite recently.
I don't know. I'm just curious. Irrespective, outside, not considering the campaign, I'm just thinking of whether as a ratio it has increased on its own with its self-sustained. Did it have any self-sustained momentum?
No.
Wala.
It's still always the same. Almost.
Yung hindi captured. Yeah. So talaga ang liit eh.
This is last year's data.
So you're looking at less. Yeah. In other words, but
so if we lower income taxes, that's what will be hit, that compensation, ano?
Ano ba yung green?
Sir, other individual income.
Yeah, but that's also captured by some withholding system. Ito yung hindi ito talaga yung hindi na.
What are these others? I'm looking at this graph. Yung corporate is 36%, individual is 21%, VAT is 22%, excise is 10%. What's others?
Estate tax,
6%.
donors tax,
This is the one that's
documentary stamp tax.
covered in the withholding system.
The other taxes are documentary stamp tax.
Doc stamp.
Yeah.
Do we have the figure for that? For 2013, the DST?
I don't have the 2013 yet.
Hindi pa kompleto. Yung mga capital gains, dividend income, where does that fall?
Capital gains meron.
Capital gains is in the individual and company.
Depending on who the taxpayer is.
Documentary stamp tax is 59 billion 867.
Captured in the withholding system yan eh. Talaga ito yung
tax on property. Tax on property.
So if your income is if your tax has not been collected, you will not pay.
Pasara mo yung pintuan. Maingay.
Most likely, you have no records anyway.
There's a tax on property, which is capital gains from the sale of real property.
Yeah, where everyone declares their. They have
They
two deeds of sale and.
3.5 billion.
Yeah. But that's already under, as you said, depending on who the payee is, or the payer
No, sir.
is. No? That's separate?
Because the capital gains on top are shares of stock.
Hingi na lang namin, Commissioner, yung breakdown ng others and percentage.
Okay.
We just want to analyze each one and see where we can help you.
Yes, sir.
So what other ideas do we have on considering to raise revenue aside from fiscal incentives and
Sir, mining revenue sharing.
mining revenue? The MGB said they would give us something, but they've not given it to us yet. Maybe you could talk to them.
Yes,
about,
sir.
We met them last year.
Thoughts, Mr. Chairman, which is very politically difficult to do, is the increasing the excise tax on petroleum, because it would have an impact on the environment, but it's difficult to increase.
Inflationary yun, di ba? Is that inflationary?
You can one thing we can just index that to inflation eh. Kasi right now it's not indexed.
Yeah, Commissioner, please. Thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your presence, Commissioner. Salamat ho. So, yeah, I guess we can just we'll ask for more data and then we'll call another meeting on this. I think it's And then we'll wait for, sabi nyo, end of June, no? For the consolidated DTI and DOF version. Tama ba?
That would be our target.
And just a reminder, my staff asked you for, we want to finalize the TIMTA already, the TIMTA transparency in incentives, whatever, bill. It's very short, but we asked you for a sample GAA, how it would look in the GAA. Oh.
The process. I thought we submitted.
Wala pa,
I'll
wala pa.
double check.
Oh, kasi we can put it on the floor already if you give
Okay.
us that one. Okay, so Senator Binay, any other questions? Any other points from the body? I think we left some unfinished feedback here. Yes.
No, Senator. Just while we're on the topic of individual income tax, just like to point out, Senator, the remaining imbalance between an individual and a corporation. Corporations are taxed at 30% and individuals are taxed at 32% maximum rate. And even if you're self-employed, individuals are entitled to 40% on their gross, while corporations are allowed to deduct direct costs before they avail of the optional deduction of the 40% on their gross income. So individuals, for instance, who are engaged in trading would not be allowed to get a deduction for their cost of goods sold if they get a 40% on their gross sales. So there's a lot of imbalance going on between...
There's a proposal. I filed a bill to have a one-person corporation. So maybe there, pwede siyang entitled sa what corporations are given, especially if he's engaged in business.
That's an indirect way of doing it, Senator. But
proposal nyo, you're proposing that individuals be entitled to the same deductions as corporations?
Yes, Senator, and then I think the other end of the stick is subject to them maintaining, of course, these books of accounts and the necessary reporting to the Bureau of Internal Revenue. Because the concern is that they don't keep their records, so they're just being allowed deduction on their gross sales. If they don't want to keep records, that's fine. But there are individuals who keep accounting records, and they should be treated similarly with corporations who keep accounting records.
Pag sole proprietorship, what do they pay? Individuals
They will be 32% on the top rate.
Where are they grouped? In the corporation or the individual?
Individuals.
Yeah. Yusek, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to inform you that since Dr. Aldaba joined us early this year, full-time, we're fixing up our database. We're cleaning up the data. So whatever information that you have requested, we'll try our best to submit it as soon as we can. I just want to be confident of the data we have. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think we just have to have a reality check now. If there are all proposals to reduce income tax rates, personal income tax rates, how are we going to finance our infrastructure, our social needs?
Precisely. I think we should all be responsible citizens. We want the government to finance everything, and we're happy with the administration closing the classroom gap. We're happy with the PhilHealth additional coverage. We're happy with all the national roads being concreted by 2016. But saan nga panggagalingan yun, di ba? That's why we called this hearing, because we think measures to raise income are just as important as measures. So simultaneous with our moves to make the tax code more progressive, more equitable, and correct some of the inequities in our highly inequitable society, we must also find a way. We have to balance all these things. No? So it's a very, very difficult, believe me. I've had long meetings with my staff trying to brainstorm, and so we, from the side of the private practitioners, we'd welcome also ways that you can think of for government to raise revenues as much as we want lower taxes. Everyone wants lower taxes, but no one wants to foot the bill in the end. So we have to balance all of this. Tama si Yusek Paul. Anything else? I think we've taken enough today, and we can leave it for another day. I'd like to call a meeting. Just to inform you, I'd like to call another meeting next week to talk about these things, just to make sure everything is moving along. Yeah. So Senator Binay, anything else? No more? Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Meeting is adjourned.